I was in a band.
Yeah.
So
what happened there?
I can't sing. I can't sing. I met his wife and she said, "Oh, you're part of the Brotherhood, aren't you? The Gingers." And she said, "Have you been mistaken for Mick before?" I said, "Yeah, many a time." Anyway, I ended up buying Michael Hutchins' jacket and his top and his shoes, what he wore at that gig.
No way.
And to complete the outfit, my mum made me those jeans with the star and stripes on.
Virgin Radio 80s Plus.
Leigh Francis, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome to Virgin Radio 80s Plus. You're a member of the team now.
Oh, yeah, I'm a new member.
You are?
I'm a new kid on the block. Andy Goldstein of TalkSport has been looking after me like it's his job. And he goes, I'll show you where the vending machine is and stuff.
Showing you the ropes.
Yeah, it's been lovely though.
Welcome along, and you sound amazing.
Well, I just sound very northern, I guess. Yeah, what's weird, I was just talking to someone saying, I don't know who I am. Because I've rarely on interviews or anything on TV or radio. So yeah, it's just been finding my voice, and I've heard my voice quite a lot now.
And this is really special for me chatting to Leigh, to you, because not many people have had the chance to do that. Lots of people chat to Keith, don't they?
Yeah.
You know,
or whatever character. Yeah.
What about this list? So you said that this was a joy to compile and come up with, and you could have done double the amount. But is it hard to try and pick a list of 10?
Because you think about people judging you for your taste in music, and then you think of what songs meant what to you at that time, and what other music you like, but you've only got to put 10 songs in there, so it's really hard, and then memories flood back. You go, oh yeah, but I like that, and it's just like I've chosen a list of songs that meant quite a lot, I guess.
Amazing. This first one I think is a game changer. It was so futuristic when it came out. There's so much going on here. Tell us what you picked.
It's Chaka Khan, A Feel For You.
Right.
I was a breakdancer / body popper when I was a kid, and as I got older, I used to brag and say I was the best body popper in Leeds, but I wasn't. and I didn't have any money at all to buy records or anything, so I used to just tape off the radio. And I had this just on a collection of breakdance tunes, and this was one of them. And it's a breaker back then would probably say this is not a breakdance tune, but in the video you've got Ozone and Turbo from the film Breakdance the Movie, which it's now called Breaking the Movie, and it's not on any social streaming platforms. You can't get it anywhere. I've got it on DVD, but yeah, it's got Ozone and Turbo in the video, and a lot of the cast from the film Breakdance the Movie. And so yeah, I used to breakdance to this, and we didn't have lino. We had like some shiny wood that we would just carry this shiny piece of wood, and we used to breakdance at a bus stop, outside a bus stop, and only breakdance when a bus came by, because it was pointless because nobody was seeing us otherwise.
So that's the moment you got
the bus is here, and we'd all start breakdancing. And yeah, Chaka Khan, and it's still, I think, really contemporary sounding now, and it doesn't sound dated at all. You don't listen to it and go, that's an 80s tune. I know it's got scratching in it, but yeah, it still sounds really modern, I think.
First question I want to ask you about young Leigh in the 80s. Were you funny then? Have you always been funny? Because you're hilarious.
Do you know what? You know when you get bullied at school? I'm not saying I got bullied at school, but everyone got bullied now and again from the school bully.
Yes.
I wasn't targeted because I've got ginger hair, but when I did get bullied, it was because of ginger hair.
Right.
And normally, you try and make people laugh to get out of that bullying situation. So I used to say, I learned to mess about quite a lot at school, and now lucky for me it is my job.
Yes.
But I never said I am funny, because simply all my mates are funny, and there's always someone really funny in the pub, isn't there? And sometimes they're funnier than like me, but I'll just take a little bit of their essence and go, well, I'm going to say that on telly, but they wouldn't say it, and I don't know if it would work them saying it on TV. But I had a video camera when I was 16. My good friend Keith Lemon, because that's a real person in real life.
It is, and I've seen pictures of him.
Yeah, so he's my mate in real life. I said I would give him a shout out on TV. He says, how are you going to do that? I said, I'll give a character your name. So I didn't know this would happen, what happened. But he got a video camera when he was 16, and he couldn't afford to pay the payments from the catalogue. And he says, do you want to buy my video camera from me? I think there was like £250 left on the payments. And so my dad said yes, but I had to cut the grass for the rest of my life. Luckily that year, they paved the garden, so I didn't have to cut it at that much. And so I used to just make videos. And then I guess when I was in my early 20s, a friend of mine said, why are you, because I didn't grow up, but all my mates grew up, and said, why are you still making these videos? I went, well, I bring them around to you guys, we watch it, and then we all go out. And then one of them just said, you should send them to TV.
Wow.
So I just started sending, it was almost a hobby, just sending them to TV, these silly videos, until a lady called me, Fanwy Moore, who became the producer of Little Britain. She got me down to London to do a live audition for a show called Watch This Space. And I came last, but she liked me. She said, I like all your ideas. We're starting up a new channel in a couple of weeks called the Paramount Channel. We might call you. And they did. But then I was a graphic designer.
Wow.
So I've been at art college for 4 years. And then I think if my dad had still been alive, he went, you've thrown all that away to be an idiot on telly. Because it was a good job. But I was just more into making silly videos.
Well, I've got a million questions to ask you about your career.
I'm just telling you my life story, aren't you? Sorry.
We're not even at song number 2 yet. This is amazing. U2, Where the Streets Have No Name.
Yeah, it was the first album I ever bought with my own money. And it was quite inspired by my sister's then boyfriend, and he would kind of tell me what kind of music to like, because you don't know who you are when you're that age. I can't remember what age I was, but young. And so I thought he'd be really impressed that I came home from HMV or Virgin or wherever I bought it from, and I'd gone, I've bought a U2 album. And I had a friend called Jimmy as well, and he was a big U2 fan, and all my friends were a little bit older than me, and I just like whatever they like. Same with my sister, she liked Adamant and Duran Duran, and I did. But I bought U2, I thought it was really cool. And I love that song. I love the video that's on top of that roof, and the police
in LA, isn't it? Amazing.
Yeah, and he's swinging his hair around.
Yeah.
And they dress really cool. Although when I was young, I just thought they've got loads of money, but they look like hillbillies. But still, they look really cool. They almost look like the Lost Boys.
Can I throw a question? Do you remember how much that album cost?
Oh, I bet it must have been $8.99 or something. I don't know.
Or maybe less. But for such a work of art, you know.
It pulled out. It opened up, and there was a massive picture of them in. I don't know where it is. But there's a big picture of them all looking in different directions. And somehow I got a 6-foot poster of that as well. I had that on my bedroom wall as well for a while.
Amazing.
Yeah. I just thought they were so cool. And then I got. About 2 weeks later, I just thought I'm not cool enough for U2, and I went back and bought another album.
Terence Trent D'Arby, next on my 80s playlist, he was
super cool.
Coolness personified.
It was super cool. So that was my second album that I bought. I bought U2, and I didn't feel I was cool enough for U2, and I went back to HMV or Virgin. I can't remember where I got it from, and I bought Terence Trent D'Arby. I'd heard If You Let Me Stay. And I thought, he's cool, he looks good, he's a really good dancer as well. And I bought that album, and I thought it was amazing. And I used to go to a clothes shop called Sprite 58 in Leeds, and they used to play a lot of Terence Trent D'Arby in there. And I do specifically remember Dance Little Sister being played there quite a lot. And this shop was so cool. It had like silver tiled floors, and when you tried shoes on, you sat in a dentist chair to try shoes on. It was the coolest place, and you could get 501s that were all ripped up for £10, and that's all I could afford. And I used to go there so much, I think people thought that I worked there, and I just hang out there listening to the music, and it was mostly Terence Trent D'Arby, and I thought, I need a Terence Trent D'Arby hat. Remember the big black Baker Boy hat he had on?
Yeah.
And a biker jacket with badges on. And I still wear that now, walking around thinking I'm Terence Trent D'Arby. Of course, he's not called that now. He changed his name to the incredible E.G. O'Reilly. Then he changed his name again to Sanada Maitreya and said that Terence Trent D'Arby was a character, and now he never sings any of those songs, which is a shame. But also, one of my favourite bands is In Excess. And he joined In Excess, and I thought, this is why I like these people, because they're all the music that I like. And Terence Trent D'Arby joining In Excess, that was amazing as well. It sounded like, In Excess has got a really funky sound to it anyway. But he funked it up even more. And I love Terence Trent D'Arby with In Excess. I wish I'd have stayed with him. He's amazing.
I would love to have seen that. That sounds really special.
We can see it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's on YouTube. What sort of inflection was that? YouTube. It's on YouTube.
All right, so the next track we're going to go for, In Excess. Tell me about your story about the big show that you went to see.
I saw In Excess. The first In Excess single I bought was 50 Pence from, where was I? I was in Whitby. And it's this little record shop. It wasn't a big franchise, just this little record shop.
Yeah.
And they have this little basket of bargains, and In Excess was in there for 50p. And I can remember saying to my mates, "Oh, I know this band, there is. I saw him on the Wide Awake Club. Remember Timmy Mallet?"
Yes.
He was a big fan of Timmy Mallet, and Timmy Mallet knows I'm a big fan of his. And In Excess were on Wide Awake Club, and I thought, wow, they're cool. And and A New Sensation, that song was amazing, I thought. And I just became a massive fan. I saw them a few times, and then I went to Summer Excess, it was called, at Wembley in 91. It was Blondie, it was Hot House Flowers, Roachford, Jellyfish, Jesus Jones. I might have missed anybody out, I can't remember. And then
what a lineup.
Then In Excess.
Roachford, wasn't it?
Yes, Roachford, yeah. In Excess came on. I needed to go to the toilet from 11 o'clock in the morning because we were young then. So you just ran to the front. We've got a good place. We aren't moving.
Yeah.
And I had a bum bag on because bum bags were in fashion then. I know they've come back, but it was pressing into my stomach every time I jumped up. And I'm like, I'm going to wee myself. I held that wee in all night, all day and night, until we got on a bus. And the mate gave me a Coke can to relieve myself. And I said, I'm going to have an accident with this Coke can. And then I can remember laying into a bin liner on the back of a National Express coach, relieving myself into a bin liner.
It's what we did.
And then just tie it in a knot and then throwing it off when we got off the coach. But it was the best day ever. And I remember my friends getting the drumsticks from John Farris. He would throw his drumsticks out, and my friend got them, and I was a bit jealous. But later on, a few years ago, someone on Twitter got in touch with me and said, "I've noticed you've started to dress a little bit like Michael Hutchins. Do you?" And I says, "Oh, that's very kind of you." He says, "Do you like In Excess?" I said, "More than you know." He said, "I think I can get hold of some of his clothes." Anyway, I ended up buying Michael Hutchins' jacket and his top and his shoes, what he wore at that gig.
No way.
And to complete the outfit, my mum made me those jeans with the star and stripes on.
Wow, I can picture that. So this is the Live Baby Live gig.
Well, is it Live Baby Live or Live Baby Live? Or
I think it's I've been told off by Mike. It's Live Baby Live, I think.
Right.
But it goes down. That gig goes down in history, doesn't it?
72,000 people,
gig, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At Wembley, and it was live. I think Radio 1 simulcast it, and it was perfect. It was perfection.
I mean, it was probably their peak, I guess. It was, And they did some great albums after that, but that was the moment when they owned the world. And like people now who I talk to, younger people who don't know In Excess, they were as big as U2.
Yes.
It was the biggest band in the world at the time.
They had the whole world at their feet, didn't they? I love all these bands. Simply Red, you've got... so let's discuss Mick Hucknall.
Yes. Never met him.
Have you not?
Never met him. And everyone goes, "Have you met Mick Hucknall?" I go, "No." I said, I don't think two gingers are allowed in one room, are they? One of us will just set on fire. And I know, I've always loved Simply Red, and I think I got into Simply Red quite late, if I was honest. So I really got into them. The New Flame album.
Yeah.
And then I went backwards and bought right back to the punk album, Mick Hucknall and the Frantic Elevators.
Right.
And but again, people always are looking for people that they connect with and see themselves on screen. And when I saw Mick Hucknall on screen, I thought, I'll be him. Yeah, I'll look up to him because I'm a bit like him. And
was there a moment in your younger life when you kind of thought, I'd quite like to be a singer?
I was in a band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened there?
I can't sing. I can't sing. Even though I have had, I've had a few top 5 singles in the charts.
Yeah.
I had a Christmas song.
Well, just list those because you had the
Proper Crimbo.
Yeah.
That was number 4. Then the following year, I did a charity single with Davina McCall and Patsy Kensit. That was a cover of "I've Got You, Babe." What did I do after that? Then I did a Keith Lemon song for a laugh that was too good, and I said, "We've got to release this."
Yeah.
So we had no record label, but that got to number 21. And then in lockdown, I think it was the first lockdown leading up to Christmas, I just texted all the celebs that I knew and said, "Can you sing a line of Do They Know It's Christmas for me?" This line. And they all did, just sang it on the phone. And then my mates that do music for me in Leeds, where they do a lot of music for my TV stuff, they put it all together, and we had a version of Do They Know It's Christmas, Feed the World, all done for free. And we gave that money to Samaritans. Amazing. And it cost nothing to make. And I just thought, they should do that every year, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
You know, and I back in the day when they did do it, I think they did the Band-Aid, Band-Aid 2, Band-Aid 3. How many Band-Aid songs?
I think there was 3, wasn't there, all together?
But I used to buy them all because it's exciting. Like, who's in it this year? You know, but they haven't done one for a long time, have they?
And going back to Simply Red, you must have seen Mick Hucknall live.
I've seen
Isn't he
Simply
incredible?
Red many times.
Aren't they great?
So this year I've seen Simply Red, Shepherd's Bush Empire.
Yeah.
And
he sounds better.
At the O2
he sounds better live, doesn't he? I think than on some of the recordings.
He's a vocalist, isn't he? He's like a singer, and at the age he's at now, he still sounds amazing. Because that's what people say to me when I say I saw Simply Red last week. Oh, can he still sing?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can sing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he didn't go to the after party, but his wife did, and I thought I've got to go say hello because I love Mick Hucknall. And sometimes people say it as a slur to me, saying, "You look like Mick Hucknall," and I go, "Oh, good, thank you." But I met his wife, and she said, "Oh, you're part of the Brotherhood, aren't you? The Gingers." And she said, "Have you been mistaken for Mick before?" I said, "Yeah, many a time." I said, "In fact, my wife was in love with Mick Hucknall, and my wife looks like Winona Ryder. I love Winona Ryder." When we met, I said, "Oh, let's just get married."
Be done with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you must realise that you're one of the most impersonated, quoted people. You know, in the last 20 years, the amount of work colleagues who've done both Selector impressions or whatever.
So no, you just work really hard and go home. Because people like say, "How does your wife put up with you?" And I just go home.
How scripted is stuff like Bo Selector, for example?
Everything is quite scripted, and I always just say, "Well, I'll say what I can remember."
So when you do the Bear, for example, is that just
back in the day? What we used to do, the crew was really small, like 5 of us, and we just run it a few times before the guests turned up.
Wow.
So we knew all the different avenues to go. And but I mean, I said it's 50-50 because it's what I can. Juice was the same. We do a run through the day with a script. And then I'll just go, I'll say what I can remember.
Yeah, yeah.
And Juice was very booze-fueled. You'd have a lot of drink beforehand with Gino Di Campo, lots of booze during and lots of booze after. So it was just a party, and you really enjoyed yourself. And so you couldn't stick to the script, really.
Yeah.
And you saw just a lot of ad lib. But all the main characters that I'm known for, most of them, I've lived as them. But not at home. But I used to go out as Keith Lemon, like go to awards and whatever else before I was on telly and everything, and just live it. And that's part of the reason where the bandage came from, because it was an icebreaker, and people would say, "What have you done to your hand?" which would make me respond, so I could have a conversation with a stranger, so I could practice being Keith Lemon.
And if you wanted to, could you go straight into Keith Lemon, like any time?
Yes. Yes. It's just a different way of holding your mouth. It's shut down one side of your brain, so you don't censor yourself. You say whatever the you want. Sorry, I hope you've got a bleep machine.
Joe, put the bleep in there, will you? The other question I must ask you, just before we go to Soul, is what's next for you? Is this going to be Leigh Francis, this next
do you know what
period
happened?
of your career?
I had a meeting with my agent, and he was talking about when am I going to be me?
Yeah.
And I never had any plans to be me, because I so enjoy playing characters, I guess.
Yeah.
And I liked it that really nobody knew who I was, and I could go about my business and people could assume who I was. But I turned 50 and everything changed in my mind, and I just thought, yeah, it's time to do me now. And I said to my agent, I said, I've got to write a book soon about how I got here. I says, otherwise I'm going to forget. And so this year I started being me. I did Portrait Artist of the Year. I do a lot of art. I did that, and luckily I won that, so I was really excited. I got more love off my mates for winning that than winning a BAFTA.
Really?
Yeah, because again, they're all artists, so they was super proud that I won, I think. I got a lovely bunch of friends. So yeah, I don't know what the plan is for this year.
Brilliant. Leigh, thank you so much.
No worries, I've enjoyed it, thank you.
Amazing. So cool, thank you.
No worries.